how important is it to lead generate in today's market? And maybe what are some systems or strategies that agents can use to consistently generate leads?
Oh, it is of the utmost importance to
Why
lead
is
generate.
that? Why?
And it is simply because if you are hoping and praying for the phone to ring, it won't. Because businesses are not built on simply a hope and a prayer that it's just going to magically happen. We weren't put on this earth for things to magically happen to us. We were put on this earth to make moves and make changes and do things ourselves.
Yeah.
So with whatever support system that is for you personally is totally fine. But in terms of specifically around lead generation, you have to generate your own leads. And the number one way that people think to do it is you got to make phone calls, right?
Yeah.
But what about all of the ways that you could lead generate that don't require you to sit down and just make countless hours of calls to people that you don't know, right? How many of those systems do you have working behind the scenes at the same time that you're putting in your own hours so that you're basically triple timing your generation efforts, and it all starts coming and people start coming to you from those sources that are working behind the scenes? So lead generation in 2025 is of the utmost important because everybody has access to social media. Everybody's got an email address. Everybody gets stuff in the mail and sees it on TV and on the radio. If you're not everywhere generating leads, then they won't see you. So if you are hiding behind your phone that you're not making calls on, just waiting for somebody to call you, they won't call because they don't see you hiding.
So let's break that down, because what I heard in that is there's two different types of lead generation. There's proactive lead generation and retroactive lead generation.
Yep.
Retroactive lead generation, and this might be a new concept to some people, but this is the way I look at it. Mine might not be the best way, but this is mine conceptually how I look at it is retroactive lead generation is like what you said. I'm waiting for someone to start the conversation with me. So maybe I'm active on social media. Maybe I'm sending out mailers, maybe like whatever it is. The direct result of that form of prospecting is retroactive. I'm waiting for someone else to contact me first.
Yep.
Where proactive lead generation is you make the move first.
Yep.
Like if you're a guy in the relationship, are you going to go after the first date first, or are you going to wait for the girl to make the move?
Right.
It's the same thing with lead generating. So I would say if you are struggling with lead generation, I want you to write down all the ways that you're generating leads. But then I want you to categorize them in, am I retroactively generating leads, or am I proactively generating leads?
And if you're heavy in one category and not the other, you have to find the strategy and the tool that will help you get to be very consistent with both.
Yeah.
And in an ideal world, you have a team, a structure, or tools behind you that allows that retroactive to keep on going, and you have the support to keep that consistent, while in the times that you prioritize to sit down and call your sphere, call your past clients, call your neighbors and everybody else to say, don't forget about me. All that stuff's working behind the scenes for you.
Yeah.
And then they get your phone call, they miss it, they see you on social media. Oh man, I got to call Allison back.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that if you're struggling in lead generation, you're probably more retroactively generating than proactively generating.
Yes.
You probably have more things in that column than the other. And so I agree. You have to start putting more eggs in proactive.
Yep.
Because that is where you truly make movement and momentum.
Yeah.
So that is huge. And I think, if you're not at least making movements every day to set appointments and build a pipeline, then ultimately you're just going to fizzle out.
Yeah.
Like it's probably not going to be the right move. How important is a pipeline?
I mean, it's so important. A pipeline lets you know that you're going to have work to do 3 and 6 months from now.
Yeah.
As opposed to hoping and praying again that these two people that you're working with or have called you back recently are going to transact sometime soon. They might not. Life happens. You can't put all of your eggs into these like two people that are going to, support your whole life. You have to fill your entire pipeline so you have consistent work coming in. And the only way to do that is if you spread as far as you can go and then hone in on a regular basis and really nurture each one of the sources. And that comes a lot through being able to manage this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as crazy as it might sound, not everybody that is in your pipeline is a today client.
Yeah.
Like they might be 6 months from now or a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to justify who is a now buyer or seller and a later buyer or seller is really, really important.
Yeah.
It brings me back to our business planning when Doug was with us. Doug Edgerton from the Edgerton Group, a team out of Chattanooga. He asked a really impactful question to the team. He said, if you're worried about the business that you have, you don't have enough leads. You don't have enough opportunities. And so if you're an agent that is worried about, is this deal going to close? And that's the only thing that's focusing your attention, then my argument and Doug's argument is you don't have enough lead business.
You need more business.
You need more business. So it is making a proactive approach to go and find it and not wait for it to come to you.
Exactly.
I love that. What do you think about tools? So what are some tools that you think helps agents with lead generation?
When it comes to tools, there's a few different thoughts on it, right? Number one is, how are you going to keep it all organized once you receive it, right? You need a CRM that allows you to actually manage the leads that you have coming in. Because if you receive them and then you do nothing with them, there ain't no point in receiving them. They're just going to fall because you don't have a good follow-up plan. So first things first, let's
What's a
get them
CRM?
organized. A customer relationship manager that is an entire database, a much more robust Excel spreadsheet of sorts that has name, contact information. You get to write all their story in here to remind you of who they are, how you got to know one another, and then gives you the follow-up plan after that.
Agreed. And CRMs cost money. Good ones cost money.
Yeah,
but
ones that are worth it.
If you're an agent that does not have the luxury of maybe being a part of a team that provides one for you, or part of a brokerage that provides one for you, then use Google. Like use Excel or Google Sheets to get you started. Because as Tom Ferry says, the best CRM is the one that you're going to use. So you might as well use something, and your brain is not a good CRM. Like I am fully aware that if I try to remember things, this is not going to happen. So I agree. I think CRMs are huge. What might be another good tool for lead generation? We'll do two. So CRM, what's the other one?
Another great tool for lead generation is having great referral partners.
Ooh, okay.
And that can come and look like a lot of different things. You can have partnerships with large companies that have leads filtered down to you. You can have partnerships with trusted vendors and other professional partners that collaborate with you and you work with on a regular basis. You just can't put all of your eggs in one basket. So having these lead generation tools, there has to be multiple of them. You have to have multiple pillars of business in order to get consistent business in. It's like if you were to ask, Aunt Susie for someone that's looking to buy a house every single month. Like Aunt Susie doesn't know enough people to
She might.
She might, but she's not always going to be your only source of business, right? So having these different partnerships, having your website set up that can capture lead gen, having your signage out there that actually has the ability to capture people's contact information so you can reach back out to them. All of these things filtering into your database allows you to follow up with them from all of your different sources. Yeah. And then you can really get a streamlined, consistent business flow.
So proactive would be reach out to vendors, title, lenders, home inspectors, people in your area that are in the scope and in the sphere. Maybe join a chamber group or a BNI group or like that is proactive ways of lead generating. It's not
active hours spent on meeting people.
Exactly. So I love that.